June 12th,
Steve, are we on?
2023, Penn Trafford School Board main order of the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Mr. Lego, roll call.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Mrs. Issing.
Here.
Dr. Klein.
Present.
Mr. Kachasik.
Here.
Dr. Koscheck.
Here.
Mr. Leonard.
Here.
Mr. Matarazzo.
Here.
Mr. Nemick.
Here.
Mr. Petrucci.
Here.
Mr. Stovall.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lego.
You're welcome.
Okay, there are no visitors. There are no items for old business. I'll go through the executive session right now. She gave it to me here, and I'm looking for something else, and I definitely.
Oh, we have to do information.
Mr. President. Yeah.
Pardon me?
Skipped information.
Oh, is there, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have
All
information
right,
tonight.
I'm sorry. Christina throws too many things at me.
Well, thank you. First of all, do you have anything for the Career Tech Center?
I gave that last week.
You gave that last week?
Yeah.
It was Mr. Leonard at WIU.
That was Mr. Leonard. I thought we didn't remember you doing that. I'm so sorry. And I know we don't have anything this week for the WIU. All right, we were just talking about the baseball update last Thursday. Our team did make it to the second round of the state playoffs, and unfortunately we did lose. It was a great game overall. They held out pretty much most of the nights, but we were very proud to have them make it that far. It was the first time in the team's history to make it into the state's playoffs. So congratulations to all the boys for a great season.
And it was well attended. The game was very well attended. I was very pleased. We ended up sitting on the ground.
Yeah, I think Scott, Mr. Equilio, and myself, and Mr. Lego, and Mrs. Julianne, we were kind of close to
Standing remotely.
Standing remotely. It
I called it
was.
sitting room.
I brought my chair, but I said there's no use in sitting in it because there was no way I would have been able
Exactly.
to see over the crowd. So I ended up standing too. But it was okay. It was a good game to
It was a
watch.
very good game.
I understand their pitcher is a Division I recruit. If I'm not mistaken.
Did you hear that?
Alabama.
Alabama. So,
Wow.
and he got 7 hits off of him though. So they
Oh,
did
we
hit
still
the
did
ball.
a good
I
job.
think that was one of the closest games they had all year. Is that correct?
They lost one game. Their record was 20-1.
Okay.
I put the screen up there because it was an honor this year to find that we made it into, I know we're top 11 for the state, but the Pittsburgh Business Times, they do a 3-year look back, and we actually made top 10 on the Pittsburgh Business Times and the highest of any school in Westmoreland County. And I wanted to point out, I'm gonna have to just kind of stand for a second. But with the top 10 schools, Upper St. Clair took the first spot, followed by Fox Chapel, Peters Township, Hampton, Mount Lebanon, South Fayette, North Allegheny, Quaker Valley, Pine Richland, and Penn Trafford. And they do a 3-year assessment. Their scores are based on a 4 years because at one point they moved.
It's a 3-year period, and the most recent year has the most weight.
Has the most weight. We did very well the last couple of years, and we continue to do well, but it was so nice to see this honor. But when I was looking at it, not only did they give us the scores doing so high, they did the cost and the budget amount. And what is the total budget next year? And my glasses aren't on, so Brad, what is the total budget for Upper St. Clair?
Upper St. Clair, well, for the current year, it's $95.7 million.
All right, and what is our current?
Our current budget is $63.5 million.
All right, so we're achieving very close to what Upper St. Clair is, and they have a $32 million more of a budget than what we're doing. So I take that as I take that as a compliment because they also have about our enrollment. Some of the schools have different enrollments than us, so it's kind of hard to compare the two. But for me, I look at Upper St. Clair's enrollment, and Brett, what is that?
Upper St. Clair's enrollment is 3935,
Compared to ours,
3879.
so we're very similar in enrollment. So I like to see that. So I do thank the school board for supporting us and all the teachers for doing all the work to get the scores and for everyone for the community. I said it all the time. I don't feel like we're lacking $32 million worth in the budget every year. So I really do not. I do feel like we are, we have pretty much what we need for our students, and we're doing well. So I just want to kind of point that out for the scores and for the budget purposes as well. So thank you. put up there, Scott, where,
Yeah, I don't know, your computer, I had a hard time, that is on, it's on the far right. It's like the screen behind the screen.
alright, you know what, I'll just shut that down.
I don't know, I don't know.
And I'll go over, I passed this out to you earlier in the day. We received information from the state through our IU, and Jason Conway always provides us with talking points for when we're doing our budgets. And one of our more interesting talking points was the mandated cost and how it affects state funding. Over the last 10 years, we've had mandated costs in the amount of 9.7 million, where this cumulative dollars was 5.5. So we're already behind $4 million just to keep up with the state mandates. Brett, how would you reply to that?
Well, it's an ongoing challenge for districts to be told from the state that they have to provide certain services, and yet the state fails to provide monies to do that. So it's a challenge for all districts. $4 million over 10 years is a pretty significant bite. That's, over $1 million that we've lost per year for the last 10 years. So certainly, if you take 10 mills away, we'd be at 79 mills instead of 89 mills. So it's been a significant challenge for us, and there's really no end in sight.
Definitely. And when you look, it's not just a Penn Trafford problem. For Westmoreland County, he also did it for all the 17 school districts in Westmoreland County. If you do, it's a countywide problem. PT was out a little bit over $4 million in the burden. The county as a whole was almost $52 million. So there is a huge difference.
Is that pretty equally spread on the districts? or-
It's pretty proportional based on the budget, yes. So, certainly Jeanette's would be smaller than ours, and ours is smaller than Hempfield's, but, you figure 17 districts in Westmoreland County, $51 million, so you multiply that out over 500 districts statewide, because it really does apply to everybody. It's just not a Westmoreland County or Penn Trafford problem. So unfunded mandates take a tremendous toll on school districts' cost of Commonwealth.
Did anyone have any questions on
No, I
that?
was just gonna ask Brad, is the pension obligations in that?
It is.
And what portion of that, do you have any idea? Is that, without calling, putting you on the spot?
It's, the pension obligations are $7.8 million, reimbursement was $4.5 million, so $3+ million for the pension,
Of the 52?
of the 52.
Or is that
No,
up-
that's
was ours?
that's just ours. So of our total $9 million total, 7.8 is related to pension with reimbursement of 4.5. The other one that I really, the pension costs do go back into the employees at some point in the future. So, there is a benefit to the district in that regard. But the charter tuition costs, which are $1.6 million, reimbursement is actually zero. We don't get reimbursed anything, and it's an ongoing challenge with these cyber tuition charges. And there's been a lot of talk about reforming it. There's really no accountability in these charter schools, and that's something that I really wish the legislature would address, because it's a huge problem. It really is.
One sec. We had a gentleman just walk in here.
Hi, I was supposed to come here earlier, but the door was locked up front. I'm here for a class for a university, and I'm just supposed to attend and watch.
Oh, have a
Yeah,
seat.
welcome.
I just didn't know because the door was locked up front, and then some lady told me to go because they had swim class. I don't know if I'm allowed to go in through that entrance, but that's how I came.
Oh, you're going.
Absolutely. We had
Yeah, I'm just here to just watch.
Okay.
Thank you.
the meeting, so,
Which university are you attending?
University of Pittsburgh at Jonestown.
Okay. And why did you choose Penn Trafford?
Not here. This is where I graduated.
Okay. And I don't recognize you, but what is your name?
Josh Gordon.
Oh, well, welcome back.
Yeah. This is the first time I've been here since 2020, so.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Well,
thank
welcome.
you for coming back. And good luck in your studies.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Leg, anything else?
I think that's all for now on that. It's a problem that, hopefully gets recognized, but it goes way back more than 10 years. It goes back probably 25 years when these unfunded mandates started to come down the pipe, so.
And I had one other thing I want to share with everyone now. We finally do have the sales agreement for the new admin building. I know we've been talking about that for several months in the making. We actually do, and as soon as we go through the process, we have 60 days to make sure we go through inspections and make sure we feel like the building is a good purchase and everything works out. But as you remember, and these are kind of the talking points we looked at when we were doing the admin building, the admin building we currently is in, what date is it, Mr. Lego?
1897, I believe.
All right, so the building is from 1897.
It was 1890.
I don't know if it's an 1890 something. Let's put it this way, it's old either way.
It's, all right, it's old. Let's put it this way, it's old. There's numerous projects, and we look to get everything repaired and back up to date and up to code. It's 750,000 plus, and that was just an estimate, and that estimate was pretty much before the inflation. So we didn't really want to spend all that money on an old building, and we looked at building a small 8,500 square feet building on the grounds of Penn Middle, and that cost us back when we did it, estimate was 3.4 million, and that was before inflation as well.
Also
And that was,
before change orders.
that was built on our, and that was before change orders, and that would have been built on our own land. We had no interest in spending that much money for the admin building. So that was off the table. So we started exploring different places that can house, we have 15 people for next year in the admin building. So we just needed a place to house the 15. A lot of the places were either too small or way too big. One of the places we really looked at was the fire hall. We actually went back 3 times for it because we actually thought for the price, we can actually make it work. But during that time, it was actually then sold. And it's good for the people because I heard the business is doing well. And I drove by there the other day when I was going to another location over there, and it was doing well.
CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Wayfair.
Wayfair, yeah.
And it was nice to have some business in it, so I'm happy for them. Sorry we didn't get it, but I'm very glad that they have it. It brings business to the community, which is much needed. So we decided on this building because we got the price down. Originally it was $3 million, and we got it down to 1.7 million. So we already have some equity built into the building just by owning it. The building is practically move-in ready. The building's whole first floor can be leased, and dealing with our real estate agent, he believes conservatively, you could probably release it for about $100,000 per year, which would eventually help with the payments of paying back for the cost. And we are also going to sell the old admin building to generate some funds. During this new acquisition of the admin building, there's a lot of land which we do not need, but we also have people who are interested in buying some of the land, because remember, we were more interested in the building. We don't need land, more land. So that can also come back, and it can also add more businesses for the tax rolls, which is always, it helps us further down the line. If we have to sell it in the future, like if we ever do a building consolidation or another building comes open or there's something that we can also afford, I think it would make for an easier sell at a later date. And I did a few years ago, what was the first year we started earmarking a mill in the budget for the admin building?
Well, the mill that we earmarked actually was for a renovation or construction project. This is gonna fall outside of that, so we're not even gonna have to dip into that mill. That mill was put on, I believe, in the 2021 school year. But we're not gonna touch that. We're able to pay cash for this building out of our fund balance, which we've done a good job growing over the past several years. So it won't have any impact on the general fund budget whatsoever, other than, reducing the amount that we have in our fund balance.
Okay.
Are we gonna transfer that mill into capital improvements, Mr. Lego?
Well, we've been using that mill every year, yes, we have been. So it gets transferred every year. Now, we've been spending it on different projects, but it'll get transferred like it has been, yes.
I meant for future construction, you know what I meant it for.
Well, we've had enough ongoing projects that we have been transferring what we set aside into the capital improvement fund, and we've been using it, but there is a balance in there which will continue to grow because we're whittling down the number of projects that we have to do. But keep in mind, out of the fund balance and not out of the capital improvement fund, we're doing the stadium track project, we're doing the lighting project. We also have the water line restoration project down at the Warrior Center. So we do have several projects on the books, but most of those are gonna come from the fund balance and not from the mill that we set aside for the capital
Does that
improvement.
include security cameras too?
We haven't got that far yet.
The address, for people who are either watching at home, it's 1100 Randall Court, and that's in Export, PA. So it's still, I guess it is in the district. That was our only, that was our main requirement, it'd be in the district. And it's actually a 30,000 square feet building. About it's 15,000 on each floor. So, and obviously, we don't need the whole bottom floor, so that's what we're trying to lease out, because it is a nice size building for us.
So assuming that everything goes through inspection, whatever, when do you anticipate being able to move in?
We were probably thinking after the school year starts,
Okay.
because we still have 60 days, and then right now, to get that ready, but our primary focus is to get all the schools in the districts ready for the kids in the fall.
We don't wanna move in August, whenever, ideally, September would probably be the best. I mean, August,
Once the kids, all the other
yeah,
buildings are
there's
settled.
just so much
sure.
going on getting ready for school year in August that we really don't wanna be dealing with that and getting ready for school, so it's probably gonna have to wait till after Labor Day.
And then as soon
Still
as
soon.
make that transition, we're gonna try to list the existing building.
Yes, we'll list it as soon as we get it cleared out, and there might be, some lag between when we move and when we can sell, because we won't be taking everything with us, so there'll be some, old equipment and some old files that we need to dispose of. But the priority is to get in the building with everything that we need to move, and then once that's done, we'll take care of the cleanup. So there might be a month lag before we can list it.
There's a process, as our solicitor will remind us, when we sell something, we have to go
You have to get, well, it depends on how you sell it. So there's school code options, you could do sealed bids, you could do auction, but if you do it through private sale, you're required to petition the court for approval, where you have to have two disinterested appraisals agree that your agreed upon purchase price is reasonable, because it's taxpayers funded building. So it really will just depend. We provided a motion on that process a couple months ago. It just gives you the options. You want to get your best,
I'm sure this is just speculation, but it's such an old building, you really think anyone would be interested in, other than to tear it down and build something new?
We hope so.
Yeah, that's gonna be a challenge, I think, for somebody to utilize it in the condition it's in. It's not handicap accessible, parking's not a great thing, so I personally, I think it might be worth more for somebody to take it down than to leave it up, but that's just me.
What's the size of that lot? Is it just what the building sits on, or?
Basically just what the building sits on, yeah. There's a little bit, maybe, I don't know, 30 feet in the back behind it, and that's about it.
It's not,
Yeah,
not much usable in the back.
no, not much, no.
It doesn't cost us for the effort, though, to try to sell it, so.
Well, no, I mean, somebody wants to buy it and tear it down, certainly that's an option too, so.
Has the real estate agent indicated what the rental market's currently like for renting out a building of that size?
They had, office space is not a hot commodity right now, but the developer of the property out there did say that he had some people interested in renting some of the other buildings in that area, and he, if this was a year or two down the road, he might have had a tenant for us, but he might be a good resource, the developer of that property, to get some interest. We'll see where that goes, though.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any extra questions?
It's just a minor clarification. The mailing address is Export, Pennsylvania. It is not in Export, it's not part of Franklin Regional School District. I want to emphasize that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely
So
Penn
people
Trafford.
doesn't start, anybody gets a question on it.
No, we definitely have to do a PT.
We have 13 zip codes in our school district.
Yeah, we have
So
we
do
have a
I.
lot.
We do.
If you could share, please, about the accessibility to the field. A lot of people like to use our field, but it's not gonna be available most of the summer.
Yeah, I kind of talked about that last week. We're getting we're getting the track upgraded, and if you just drive past it, you can see that the track is being redone. And then as soon as the track is in place, I feel like the lights should be starting, so we might have restrictions during the lighting. We're not sure until they actually meet with us to go over what the restrictions should be once they aren't installing the lights. But until further notice, we had to close the stadium. And I know a lot of people are disappointed because, especially in the summer, it's used a lot. But unfortunately, for the work we need to get done, the only time we're not using it is the summer. So it's one of those, I get the complaint, but there's really no other time to do it, and it's gonna better us going forward.
It's
so.
an short-term inconvenience for a long-term
Absolutely.
asset for us.
But you're more than welcome to walk around the schools, the school grounds, school settings, up the hill, around the school. There's a lot of good walking to do there. You can ask Mrs. Issing and Mr. Matarazzo.
I know, but it could be added number 24.
No, it needs to be at the beginning of the meeting.
You're the boss, okay.
Any other questions on the building or different things around the district? That is all I have.
Okay, executive session. We started at 5 PM. We discussed personnel, real estate, negotiation, and school safety and security. Okay, I'll now present to my good friend, Mr. Kachasik. He has a motion for us.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to amend agenda to consider creation of a new position of Director of Curriculum and fill the position subject to,
Just the first vote, please.
yeah, right, and fill the position subject to an official job description.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
Question.
Question? Any, roll call, pull the board, make sure everybody's satisfied with this. Mr. Lego.
Okay. Mrs. Issing,
Yes?
Dr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Kachasik,
Yes.
Dr. Costo,
Yes.
Mr. Leonard,
Yes.
Mr. Matarazzo.
Yes.
Mr. Nemec,
No.
Mr. Petrucci,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall.
Yes.
Okay, you have affirmative vote of 8-1.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lego.
You're welcome.
Okay, now.
Hold
go-
on, Mr. President, I have one more motion now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Motion to hire Lou McCracken as Director of Curriculum at a salary of $139,000. Benefits per the terms of the Act 93, the current Act 93 agreement, and all duties subject to the official job description.
Second.
I have a motion, Mr. Kachasik. I have a second motion. I have a question.
Question?
All right, roll call vote. Mr. Lego?
Yes,
Pull the
sir. Mrs. Issing,
Yes.
Dr. Klein,
Yes.
Mr. Kachasik,
Yes.
Dr. Costo.
Yes.
Mr. Leonard,
No.
Mr. Matarazzo,
Yes.
Mr. Nemec,
No.
Mr. Petrucci,
Yes.
Mr. Stovall.
Yes.
So the vote is 7 in favor, 2 against, the motion carries.
Okay, now we'll go to the consent agenda. Is there any, does any board member wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? I will now entertain them. The consent agenda on our minute goes to page 22, I believe. Make sure I'm on this. Yes, here, it goes to Mr. Nemec. Okay, I'll now entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Kachasik, second on motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Costo. Any question on motion?
Question?
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed. Okay, now please go to page 22. Budget and Finance, Mr. Nemec.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to recommend that the 2023-2024 school district budget and schedules in the total amount of $65,921,378 properly advertised in accordance with the school laws of Pennsylvania be adopted and filed in the official board minutes to include the following taxes as shown in the budget. Real estate tax at a rate of 89.75 mils, assessed valuation of taxable property. The real estate tax for Allegheny County portion located in Trafford Borough is 13.91 mils. Per capita tax at the rate of $5 on each eligible resident. Act 511 taxes per capita $10. Occupation resident tax $10. Local service tax $52. Realty transfer 1%. Earned income and net profits 1%, and the budget breakdown is listed.
Second?
Question.
Motion and second, Mrs. Issing, any question on motion?
Question?
Question by Mr. Kachasik. Pull the board, please.
Okay.
Mr. Lego, for clarification, this is a 0 mil.
That's
increase.
correct. No increase
I wanna
in
be sure.
Westmoreland County, a slight decrease no increase in Westmoreland, a slight decrease in Allegheny, based on the balancing that we have to do.
Okay, we'll pass that. I thought there'd
That's
be
the next
one
motion.
dissenting vote, but okay.
Thank you, Mr. Lego.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Nemick. Personnel Director, Mr. Kachasik.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to employ the following personnel. New employment is contingent upon the receipt of all necessary documentation and the acceptance of Act 34, 151, and 114 waivers from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania within 30 days. Diana Cardamone, art teacher at McCullough. Gary Heiser, maintenance technician, district-wide. Joanna Kraus, school psychologist, 12-month position. Krista Inman, a lunchroom aide at Level Green Elementary. Leah Fertile, a super sub, long-term sub at Trafford Middle School. And Julie McClure, a nurse at Penn Middle School.
You got one more there, Phil. Oh, no.
I have a motion, Mr. Kachasik. Any second on the motion?
Second.
Said Mr. Goscher. Any question on the motion?
Question.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
That is all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Kachasik.
You're welcome.
Tax insurance, Mr. Matarazza.
Thank you, Mr. President. Be it resolved, and it is hereby resolved by the Board of School Directors of the Penn Trafford School District that there is a hereby assessed, levied, and imposed for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2023, ending June 30, 2024, a tax on all real estate in the district subject to taxation at the rate of 89.75 of assessed valuation of taxable property. The real estate tax rate for the Allegheny County portion will be 13.91.
I have a motion on Mr. Matarazza. Any second on the motion?
Second.
Second, Mr. Kachasik. Any question on the motion?
Question.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Can I make a comment, sir?
Sure.
I just wanted to comment publicly that the board gives the direction and the vision and the approval, but really the legwork that went in to keep a 0 millage, and we're remaining at 0 mill increase. I want to thank Dr. Harris, Mr. Inglace, and Mr. Lego. They did the nuts and bolts and came to us for approval, recommendation, insight, but I want to make sure to give them credit for doing the legwork on getting that done. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Now, if any other board member wants to comment on anything,
That's well said.
Thank you.
good. Teamwork.
They do definitely deserve a lot of praise.
Well, it's
Okay.
always our goal to balance the needs of the students with the needs of the taxpayers. And, fortunately this year, I think we were all very successful in being able to do that. So it's nice to be able to come in with a 0 mill for the first time in several years.
And I just want to emphasize something I always say repeatedly. We do this with next to zero commercial tax base.
That's right.
Which I think that is
And
excellent.
when I showed you at the beginning, we're still competing with the top 10. We are the top 10. We're number 10.
And
And
we-
Trafford is number 10 based on our scores and
And on
performance.
that chart, we're the lowest per pupil cost.
Lowest per pupil
And
cost.
believe it or not, second was Mount Lebanon.
Yeah,
I saw
Mount
Mount
Lebanon.
Lebanon, number 2.
yeah.
They have a lot of
19,000.
tax, they have a lot of businesses.
They have.
Okay, now for one of our highlights, solicitor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Before we adjourn, I just wanted to thank everyone for a great school year. I think it was kind of nice that in the last couple of years prior, we were dealing with a lot of health issues and safety concerns, and I think this year it was pretty much smooth sailing. We accomplished a lot, we did a lot. It was a great school year. I'm very proud of the performance of the teachers and performance of the students. We had a lot of accomplishments in sports and in art and in music and in academics. It takes a lot. So I know your time, you spend all these meetings in the month, and you get my weekly update every week and all my things that we need for support, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So I really do appreciate all that you do for me, for the admin, for the students, for the teachers, for everybody in the whole entire school district. So it doesn't go unnoticed, and sometimes it sounds like it's a thankless job, but I'm thanking you tonight and recognizing you tonight. We couldn't be top 10 business times without you. We couldn't be top 11 in the state out of 500 districts without you. So I do appreciate everyone here, and I hope you had a good school year too. I know I did, and it's kind of nice. I'm actually looking forward to next school year already. So it's just a lot of different things, because we close one and we get ready, and the excitement's there and new beginnings. So I know Dr. Klein, this is your second year you finished. So any takeaways?
Guys are doing a great
I'd
job.
just like to say that I've been here for quite a while now, but
one of the reasons you stay on is because of the positive image we push to the community. And it continues as you see many young families still moving in. And I think that's a tribute to everybody sitting around this table, and hats off to everybody. I'll now entertain a motion for adjournment.
I have one more call.
Oh, we sneaking in on me now.
And I was digging around about statistics and just trying to tout what I thought the school district has accomplished. There's 500 districts, but there's 599 entities that we're evaluated with, and we still rank in that same as far as, we're still 11 or 12, it bounces around. But
Pittsburgh Business Times does a different, they do something for like a 3-year look back, like a 3-year, but yearly, we're 11 out of all the 500 in the state, like 599. But for Pittsburgh Business Times, we're number 10 based on their 3-year.
Yeah, but I like that statewide look at it,
Yeah.
'cause that's a big number
Absolutely.
that you have to compete with, and that's charter schools and other entities that are in that mix. I'm not sure who's the other 99, but there's 599.
I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Mr. Joshua? Ms. Ennis, second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Have a safe ride.